This portion of New Teacher Orientation is titled Copyright for Educators, What Can I Do? As new educators, there are do's and don'ts that we should be aware of, or that you should be aware of, that may be helpful as you begin your career. While this is not meant to be an all-inclusive instruction, it is meant to be an overview. And throughout your time here, throughout your time as a teacher, things will change and you will hear and learn new things about copyright as the laws change and new things become available to you. A quick guide to copyright is that copyright applies to nearly all works. If you can read it, see it, hear it, or watch it, it's probably protected. It protects works automatically. Once something is created, the work receives an instant and automatic copyright. The law no longer requires a notice on the work or registration. Copyright lasts for many decades. The basic term of protection for works created today is for the life of the author plus 70 years. In the terms of corporate works or works that are created anonymously, the duration of copyright is 95 years from the publication or 120 years from the creation, whichever is shorter. This will certainly have an impact on content that is created during the 20th and 21st centuries. You're thinking, but I'm an educator. I should be covered under fair use, right? True, educators do have the broadest exemption in copyright law, and most fair use exemptions have never been tested in court. Something to help you is that the University System of Georgia has developed a fair use checklist. This could be helpful to you and your students to determine that whether or not what you're doing is fair use. Remember that in the past, copyright was studied from the perspective of the holder, but with the explosion of the World Wide Web and the increase in resources that are now provided to us by the Internet, copyright is being studied from the perspective of the user. Things can be changed, modified, etc. And with that in mind, Temple University created a code of best practices in fair use for media literacy education, how we're changing things in media. So what does all that mean for you? Well, enter Creative Commons. So what is Creative Commons? Creative Commons is a nonprofit organization that works to increase the amount of creativity available in the commons, the general public, for free and legal sharing. How does it work? Well, it's free, it's easy to use, and it gives everyone an opportunity to put out there what their usage rights are to the work that they created or that they own the copyright to. Creative Commons licenses allow people to change their copyright terms from all rights reserved to some rights reserved. Now, it's not really an alternative to copyright. They apply on top of copyright, but you can modify your terms to best suit your needs. As a student or an educator, if you're looking for content that you can freely and legally use, there is material available to you. There are millions of things, from songs to videos to academic content, that you can use under the terms of Creative Commons licenses. An easy place to start to look for some of these things is at searchcreativecommons.org. Again, at the end of the presentation, there is a listing of additional resources that you can use for Creative Commons. So now in the online world, for those who are using any type of classroom management system online, such as Moodle, which we have available to us within our district, there is a blending of the technology, education, copyright. What does all of that mean to you? It means that there's an impact in our online classrooms. The TEACH Act, which stands for the Technology, Education, and Copyright Harmonization Act, was signed by President Bush on November the 2nd, 2002. This is a result of negotiation among academic institutions, publishers, library organizations, and Congress. It offers improvements over previous regulations and seeks to balance perspectives of copyright owners and content users, and to provide guidance for academic institutions on what is and is not allowable. The TEACH Act requirements include that it must be used by an accredited nonprofit educational institution. The course use must be part of a mediated instructional activities. The use must be limited to a specific number of students enrolled in a specific class. The use must be for live or asynchronous sessions. The use must not include the transmission of textbook materials or materials that are typically purchased or acquired by students. Additional TEACH Act requirements are that only reasonable and limited portions of materials can be used, such as those that might be performed or displayed during a typical live classroom setting. The institution must have developed and publicized copyright policies, and the students must be made aware that the materials or the content may be covered by copyright, and also to include a notice of copyright on the online materials. The institution must implement measures to ensure compliance with policies beyond merely assigning a password to get into the materials. Compliance may include user and location authentication through IPs. It may also include content timeouts and the disabling of printing or cutting and pasting. It's also important to note that the TEACH Act does not supersede fair use or existing digital licensing agreements that the institution may have through library databases, etc. Where do you go from here? Between fair use, copyright, the TEACH Act, etc., you may be worried that anything you do is in violation of some law. That is probably not the case. If you have questions, ask your librarian, ask colleagues, check online, use professional journals. When you have your students creating work or you're creating work, check out those Creative Commons opportunities that are out there. There are links on the next slide for places to go for Creative Commons works. Use those. Try creating new things on your own. Be creative. Your job as an educator is just beginning. This is your opportunity to go out there, learn by yourself, learn with your students, ask questions, and have fun. Thank you for your time. If there's anything else I can do for you, please don't hesitate to contact me through district email. And again, I thank you for your time.